Story 130 minutes, my dream job and my beautiful fiancé who beat cancer. Story 246 years old and still has hair like Jerry Garcia. Story 3, gray hair. Many of my friends from my 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s are no longer with us to enjoy having gray hair. Story 4, fighting my brain tumor for 13 years and still going. I still have my own steel, no pills needed. Story 5, 27 years old. A good career and several close friends I know I can rely on and be open with. Story 6, a functioning brain because many obviously do not. How they drive or behave in public is brainless. Story 7, my house is over halfway paid off and I host 2 podcasts. One of them is becoming quite popular. Story 8, good health is something we should not take for granted at all in our lives. Story 9, I caught this event Charmander in Pokemon Go with a party hat. It is 4-star, so now I have a 4-star Charizard with a party hat, named Party Dragon. Story 10, a beard. Some men never grow one. Some can only grow hair on their face. Story 11, in 6 weeks, I am putting on my country's athletics uniform for the first time. Age 40, representing the country. I am very proud. Story 1248, no debt. I just got laid off after 17 years at the same company. Having no debt really reduces stress levels. My monthly expenses are minimal. Story 13, surprisingly good blood flow to my limbs. My 16-year-old self would be impressed. Story 14, 2 published books of poetry. Although short, I worked on them during mentally and emotionally stressful periods in my life. Story 15, I am 19 years old. Most people my age have little or no savings and mostly lack direction in life. I have a good amount saved, partly because I live with my parents and do not pay rent, which helps. I also have a business that I have been running for the last 3 years. Although I don't often talk about it, it feels good to know I am doing better than most people my age. Story 16, the knowledge and understanding that the definition of masculinity is whatever I want it to be. We are all just making it up as we go along, limiting our lived experiences to fit within some backward, old-fashioned, fake, and insidious stereotype perpetuated by the most insecure and emotionally unintelligent among us is a sad and pathetic way to ensure their misery at least has plenty of company while still feeling incredibly alone. Without a doubt, any man telling other men how to be a man is, in reality, wildly uncomfortable with who they really are under all their bluster. They are terrified you might actually see them. Also, just as an aside, there is no such thing as an involuntary celibate. Choices made and the refusal to take responsibility for their behavior or better themselves in any way are why they are not getting laid. It is absolutely voluntary. Just log off and get some therapy, guys. Self-reflection is attractive. Story 17, understanding the toroid without studying quantum physics at the post-secondary level. Philosophically, this duality can help resolve any issue the mind might struggle with. Story 18, I am a septuagenarian and glad to have my hair. I am now relatively healthy, not because I have a full head of hair. I had a couple of bad health issues several years ago, but all is good now, thankfully. Story 19, 3 paid-off cars. All 15 to 20-year-old Toyotas with over 200,000 miles. All 3 work. In the worst case, 1 or 2 may need repairs. I always have a reliable, fuel-efficient vehicle at my disposal. Story 20. The life I want to live is a little messy and unconventional. It is not precisely how I envisioned life at my age. At the same time, I am doing what I love and able to be who I want to be. I have people in my life who I love and who love me. It is pretty good. Also, I have seen Weird Al in concert several times. I even have an autographed poster personalized just for me. That is everything. Story 21. Knowing what I love to do, no matter how small the payoff, is important. I work very hard juggling work, school, farm, and sports. But it's worth it knowing that at work, I only get paid commission, and seeing the look on the other person's face when they receive their item is amazing. It's worth it at school because I get to learn more, work on myself, and socialize. It's worth going to the farm because I get to be with my family. Sports are amazing because making a team is like creating a family, friends, and people who will probably be lifelong friends. Took me many years to realize this. Story 22. I'm 17 and I am genuinely proud of owning something I worked hard for. That's my Xbox Series S console. I went to work because I wanted it and I got it. Many people my age expect things to be handed to them. Story 23. No debt, a thriving social life, a great physique, and attainable future goals. Story 24. It sounds simple, but a house means a lot. I have degrees, diplomas, awards, you name it. However, the ability to walk outside at 4:30 in the morning and do whatever I want cannot be underestimated. I started to appreciate this during the pandemic. I have seen high-end condominiums and I realized they often have, on average, for people living there and only one bathroom. The fact that my family all have their own rooms and the ability to go outside is a luxury beyond compare. It is not the biggest house and it has its problems, but I am proud to have it. I am continuing my education at 50 but have not started back yet. So for now, it is my house. Story 25. I have a job that is close to my dream job, and I got married to my crush 3 months ago. Story 26. Nice girlfriend. Multiple good friend groups. Never had any debt. Some good investments running. Small startups in the making. Everything self-made or earned. Pretty happy about it. Too bad the world is a messed up place. Story 27. 51 years old, full head of hair, can still bench over 300 pounds, and can still get an erection at will. I have a beautiful wife, a wonderful family, savings, investments, and a retirement date in sight. Story 28. Having $40,000 in savings and I am 18 years old. I have been working since I was in middle school. Story 29. I am 80, all my faculties intact. Full head of brown hair. Story 30. My partner is 75 years old and still maintains an erection without any assistance, just like when he was 25. Story 31. My healthy, loving wife and an amazing 23-year-old daughter. Story 32. Developed an interesting, rewarding, and challenging career and did what I love for 30 years. Continuously improving in my work. Story 33. My mother, because I have lost many other things in the last 10 years. Story 34. Bought my dream car with my own money when I was 19 and still have it. I am 23 now. It is a low-mileage Saab 900 SPG. Story 35. I don't have much money. My career is fine, but I'm making less than a quarter of what most of my friends are making. However, I have discipline that many of them lack. While I can't afford every streaming service like they can, or a new car, or a new house, or many other fun things, I know I can control my expenses better than most people my age, and I typically know what to do to make sound financial decisions. It sucks that my friend, who makes 175% more than I do, also got his brand new car completely free of charge. His father is very wealthy, and received $75,000 for a house as a gift from his even richer father-in-law. Meanwhile, I have a car payment, and my house payment is a much larger percentage of my income. But knowing I still somehow have more in savings than he does makes me think I'm not doing too badly, all things considered. Story 36. Luscious black hair. My glorious beard is nearly white though. Story 37. All my hair. All my teeth. Cologne and prostate are cancer-free. Still a practicing lawyer. Life is good. Story 38. Proud. 37 and set out and achieved the goals I wanted. I bought a home for my mother and put a roof over our heads. Remorseful. That I gave up so much time and energy and do not have anything else to show for it. Story 39. A full head of hair. Not one drop of baldness. Grow like a weed. Story 40. I am from Uzbekistan and I will rate based on local methods. Do not listen to Russian hookah rap. Better not try to understand this circus. While my peers quote this audio nonsense all the time. Do not watch soccer. I really do not understand why people like this slow sport when the world has hockey, volleyball, basketball, and Formula One. I am not a fanatic about religion. Story 41. A house. Many people my age are unable to get one. Story 42. Have a good career, a fully paid car, decent savings, live in an amazing location, have a beautiful son, and a great supportive family. Story 43. I asked my boyfriend. He said a large penis and all of his teeth. Story 44. The mentality is, I am 25 years old and no longer identify with people my age. Story 45. Bodily hydraulics that work and the healthiest relationship I have ever been in. Story 46. A lot. I need to remember that more honestly. It is so easy to focus on the negative parts of life. Story 47. I am in my 50s. I have a disease-free, fit mind and body in every sense, still training in mixed martial arts, drink moderately during weekends, and am at the peak of my career. I have raised a great child and can be detached from almost anything. What more could I ask for? Story 48. Integrity, honesty, a 1986 920D Caterpillar front-end loader. Another day. Story 49. No children. For someone who has always been sure I never wanted children, I took the risk too many times. I finally had my vasectomy last year. It is one of the best decisions I have made in my 37 years. Story 50. Owning a home at the age of 27 with no inheritance or financial assistance. Story 51. Still able to eat pizza at 2 a.m. without a 5-day recovery plan. Story 52. A wife and a reasonable amount of savings, considering I am still working student jobs. Story 53. Peace of mind does not matter the age. Feels priceless. Story 54. Memory, especially long-lasting and photographic memory. Nowadays, young people cannot remember what they were doing 10 minutes ago, due to TikTok and low-quality content on the internet that usually lasts 30 seconds to 1 minute. They cannot really focus, which is not only a concern but also worrying. Therefore, I am proud of having good memory. Story 55. My foreskin, especially as an American. It is not in a jar. Story 56. At 58, I have more than enough money to retire comfortably, travel, make donations, and help children in the family with college. Story 57. My hair, I guess. I am proud of not having children, or rather proud that I have not done it accidentally yet. Story 58. My late grandfather's guitar. I have no idea how old it is or how long he had it. I have had it since he passed almost 6 years ago, and it is my most prized possession. I feel an overwhelming sense of comfort whenever I strum a chord on it. There is an indescribable attachment I feel to this instrument, and I hope to pass it down to my children when I eventually have them. Story 59. I have no money of my own, worsening mental health issues, and I am short and unattractive with no confidence to compensate. I have never even had a talking stage with a girl. I have no motivation to do anything. Story 60. A significant amount of money invested in exchange-traded funds and individual stocks at age 17. Story 61. I retired last year at 35. So, I guess my answer is complete freedom. Story 62. A full head of hair. I didn't think I would make it this far. Story 63. Turned 30. Proud that I got myself together and started investing in my retirement accounts. Story 64. My degree, my own house, my independence, my health. Story 65. My back does not hurt. I do not take any medication. I can still go to 3-day music festivals, and although I do not drink excessively, my hangovers are manageable. I am almost 45. Story 66. My independence for travel includes planes, trains, or just borrowing my mother's car. Story 67. A nice collection of Pokemon trading cards from my high school days. Story 68. My hair and my health are good, and money is coming in. That would be more than enough to live like a king in Thailand if I ever get there. Story 69. 28-year-old male. Good car that is fully paid. Steady job for 7 years. Just bought my first house together with my girlfriend. Story 70. Alive, living with schizophrenia, loving partner, owner of a coffee roastery. Story 71. My black belt in Taekwondo is still one of my proudest achievements. Story 72. Honestly, this job allows me to have 4 months off with full benefits and pay for my newborn son. My previous job barely gave me 2 months off without pay. Both of my children were neonatal intensive care unit babies, with the last one being in there for 2 weeks. Story 73. Interesting hobbies include aviation, rock music writing, spending time with friends, personal stock investment analysis, and constantly learning about new topics. I never have to deal with boredom. My mind is always engaged, even when it feels uninterested. There is always a way to spark and ignite a passion for something new. I am incredibly lucky and thankful to have the mind that I do. Story 74. Confidence. Not arrogance, but confidence in most situations, emergencies, and social settings. Confident in my style, appearance, and bearing. It took over 50 years to get here. Story 75. I'm starting my sobriety journey. I used to drink and use drugs on weekends or every 2 weeks. This time, I am fully committed to staying sober. Story 76. I am known in 3 counties at hospitals for having 6 concussions. I am 31 years old. I have had a doctor literally ask how I am still alive. I say, I am Wolverine. Story 77. A back that does not hurt every morning, just most mornings. Story 78. Still a virgin. I don't know if that is good or bad, since apparently, if a man is a virgin, it shows that he is undesirable or something. Story 79. Awesome parents who are still well, a wonderful son, many good friends, a healthy body, and my wits about me. I have not completely given up on my interests outside of work and family. I am turning 42 on Saturday. Story 80. No bald spot. I have a bit of a receded hairline, but nothing abnormal, and it has been stable for years. Story 81. 30 minutes ago, I had a fish finger sandwich for breakfast with a bit of hot sauce. Life was good. Story 82. Traveled to all continents except Antarctica. Met someone famous. Own proper clothing and can dress appropriately. Have enough money to enjoy life without constantly checking my bank account. Attractive partner. Good health and fitness. Able to run a basic 5K without fatigue. Squat my own body weight. Swim and maintain a healthy weight. Maintain aesthetics. I have hair and take basic steps to look after my appearance. Inner peace. I am happy with myself and do not depend on friends for constant validation. Proud to be child-free. Story 83. 38. A fully paid house since I was 33 and a lovely family. Story 84. Body mass index under 25. I am not fit, but at least I have that. Story 85. A house. I still cannot quite believe we managed to do it in this climate. I am so proud of us. Story 86. 43 next Tuesday. Glad I still have hair compared to the rest of the family. Debt-free with no credit cards. Story 87. 28 years old. No depression and overall decent mental health. I think I am making roughly the amount of money that my teenage self considered good, doing roughly what my teenage self wanted to do for a living. So my 14-year-old self would be proud. Story 88. More than $100,000 in aggregated investments, including brokerage accounts, Roth individual retirement accounts, and 401k plans at age 23. Story 89. I have the ability to go to the beach without a shirt on and look presentable. It is amazing what eating well and exercising can do for you. Story 90. I am proud that I am still alive, so I appreciate my life. I am 30 years old. Story 91. My son can be a handful, but when I walk through the door and he runs up for a cuddle and lights up with that smile, it can make even the hardest days at work worth it. Story 92. After recently losing 140 pounds and maintaining a healthy routine, after a lapse of more than 25 years, I am now back to waking up with morning glory. Story 93. I am 24 years old and have a job that requires me to travel every week for robotics. I have a girlfriend who supports all my travel without being toxic. Story 94. I'm proud that I have built some financial independence pretty early. I am not rich by any means, but I can cover my own bills, save a bit, and invest consistently in cryptocurrency and traditional investments. Having that stability gives me peace of mind, and honestly, it feels better than any material thing. Story 95. Mid-40s. I am proud to have stability in life and finances. Growing up, we never had this. Family life was chaotic, and money was scarce. I am glad I did not fall into the same trap my parents experienced. Story 96. Perfect credit. Perfect driving record. I am a commercial driver, so it matters a great deal. 27-year first marriage. Story 97. I am 33 and happy I have gray hair because I genuinely never thought I would live long enough to have gray hair. I am not getting old. I am turning into a wizard. Story 98. Heart health. I just turned 60 and had a visit with my cardiologist the day after my birthday. Everything is copacetic with my heart. For context, my father died of a massive heart attack at 50, and both my grandfathers died of heart attacks in their early 60s. My blood pressure is under control due to medication. Electrocardiogram and echocardiogram are fine, and my cardiac calcium score is 12. Story 99. A good family life. Married for 27 years so far. 2 children who seem to be wonderful people. Story 100. $120,000 in retirement accounts, and having beaten cancer at nearly 26 years old. I am fortunate. Story 101. I was somewhat disappointed throughout high school and college. I had a low grade point average, attended a below average school, had no friends, worked a data entry job after college, and had a girlfriend until she was unfaithful. Now, I have a job in my field with good pay but long hours. I have a beautiful wife who holds multiple degrees and has a successful career, a beautiful daughter, 2 dogs, a group of friends, and a house. Took years of hard work and being honest with myself to reach this point. Story 102. A chance to start over at 41 and be happy. Recently divorced. I immediately got my first tattoo. An Incubus lyric on my arm as a reminder to make life what I want it to be. Hold the wheel and drive. Story 103. My soul and integrity. I did not sell my soul for capitalism, despite how much our culture encourages it, and I will still be able to retire and enjoy the golden years. Story 104. A house and a family. Currently saving for my 70s charter. Once I get that, I can die a happy man. Story 105. A nice house, a lot of free time with no children, an excellent movie collection, some great board games, and enough money to do what I want. Not retired rich money, but enough. Story 106. A full head of dark hair at 58. It is one of the reasons I am taken aback whenever I remember how old I am. That and being woefully immature as well. Story 107. The peace and freedom of not having to answer to anyone in my work. Story 108. My own house with a gaming room and all my guitars. Pretty much everything I wanted as a child. Story 109. I never thought it would be an accomplishment, but I turn 50 soon and have no police record. The surprising thing is I spent 20 years as a heavy drinking, drug-using maniac and still avoided it. I got arrested once in Newport, Kentucky in the mid-1990s, but the police department burned to the ground before they could digitize the record, so I am squeaky clean. Story 110. A working truck with no mechanical or maintenance issues because I repaired it myself. Story 111. Financially, I recently purchased an apartment. Most importantly, I still have a strong and supportive group of friends. Story 112. Not just hair, but hair that is still 85% its factory color. Story 113. I am 27 years old with no debt. I have a $91,000 salary, have paid off my student loans, and currently have $50,000 in my 401k account. Story 114. A good relationship with my children. I spent 36 years in the United States Army, and my children and wife still like me. Story 115. I am 43 years old, and someone just told me I looked like I was in my early 30s. I guess I have aged well so far. Story 116. Master's degree with no debt. I completed my bachelor's and master's degrees in Germany. Story 117. A sex life that does not need medication. I feel very grateful. Story 118. My height is nothing special, but when all the men in my family are 5 feet 7 inches or below, standing at 6 feet 0 inches makes me happy. Story 119. 63-year-old male with normal erectile function and the ability to complete a half marathon in under 2 hours. Story 120. My newborn daughter was born early yesterday morning. I know these days are special, as soon I won't be able to make born yesterday jokes anymore. Story 121. A stable job, a decent home, a hardworking spouse, and a toddler who is thriving. I did not see myself with all this 10 years ago. I lived with my parents until I was almost 26, when they moved a few states away. I could have gone with them, but I am so glad I decided to stay and get my own place. My gut told me to stay put and keep grinding, and I am so glad I listened. Story 122. Hair. I turn 50 next month and still have a full head of blonde hair. Story 123. I have a roof over my head, and I have 2 dogs that absolutely love me. Story 124. People, especially women and children, generally feel safe around me. I do not take pride in this, but I like to think my late mother would be proud of me as a reflection of her parenting. I do take pride in that. Story 125. I am proud that at my age of 34 I have none of the typical mid-30s issues like receding hairline, back pain, erection problems, or anything like that. The only change I have noticed is that I absolutely cannot function with less than 7 hours of sleep. 10 years ago, I would game through a whole weekend with little to no sleep. Nowadays, if I game until like 2 a.m. and then have to get up at 6 or 7 a.m., I literally cannot work. My body just shuts down. Story 126. I can start to see my abdominal muscles after 20 years. I have been working out hard for 6 months. Story 127. De haber llegado hasta aquí a pesar de todas las dificultades y seguir trabajando en ser mejor cada día. Story 128. Dated a mother and her 2 daughters. Fun fact. The mother knows that I am dating both her daughters. Story 129. 66 million. My liver still works, though it was supposed to have failed by now. I have a head full of hair and an active sex life. I have wonderful memories of a life full of adventures, and my young wife has plans for more. I am doing great. Thank you for the question. Truly made me reevaluate. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.